Welcome to our seventh installment of our eight-part series on strengths development for individuals and teams. I'm Jen Pasquale, the founder of Lead with Curiosity, and I'm excited to have you as part of this series. And I hope you're learning a little bit about what strengths development could look like for you individually and what it could look like for your team. So for this particular part of the series, I wanted to focus on two things that connect with team development. So in the last series, we talked about the team grid and how much that is just a cornerstone of every team workshop I do. But the other things I want to talk about with the team is the different colors and the different domains. So when I'm working with a team, there's often a lot of conversation around these buckets and these colors. So I'll just kind of explain it to you a little bit. So there's 4 domains that exist, and all 34 talents roll up under those 4 domains. And those domains are strategic thinking, influencing, relationship building, and executing. And it's really just a way to think about how we show up. So there are talents that just naturally fit under one of those buckets. But what is really important is to understand that just because a talent fits under a bucket doesn't mean it's the only way we can use it. And so the way this comes up with teams often is we'll talk about how we're using particular talents and whether that's the only way we can use a particular talent. So as an example, when we think about a talent like futuristic, which happens to be one of my top 10. So futuristic is technically a thinking talent. It's a strategic thinking, it's a green strategic thinking talent. But it is possible for me, and if I were part of a team, it would be possible for me to bring to the team that futuristic thinking as it relates to people, which is really more that relationship building. So I can use my strategic thinking theme in a relationship building way. I can use it in an influencing way, thinking about how are we going to really elevate this effort that we are working on as a team? What does it look like if we fast forward 6 months? How do we really make sure that we are getting our message out? I can bring that futuristic vision into that influencing domain and influencing work. I can bring it into executing work, and I can use my futuristic to really help me identify where do I need to be in 3 months and what does it look like to get there? So what I want you to take away from that is just understanding you're not locked into any one domain with that particular talent. You can use it lots and lots of different ways. The other thing I wanted to highlight, because this comes up all the time on teams, is the idea that the absence of a talent is not necessarily like the deficit of a team. So for instance, I had a team where empathy was incredibly low across the board, particularly among the senior leaders of the team. And it raised a lot of concern with them of, well, how can we show up for our people if we have low empathy? And so the conversation then became 2 things. One, what else do we have that we are showing up with? So do we have developer? Do we have individualization? What other relationship building talents do we have that could make a difference? And then the other part was really looking at, well, what's working already right now? Like you're just learning that you're lacking in this empathy talent. And again, you have it, but maybe it's not front and center. But what's working on the team? What has been working in spite of that? You're just now learning it. It doesn't change the dynamic of the team. So if the team is working well together, then maybe there isn't as much concern for how we offset this empathy with something else, because clearly we are building a team and we have a culture that is strong. Now, if we're in a situation where the culture is not strong and individuals have expressed they don't feel valued, they don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, then that empathy starts to be a little bit more noticeable. But still, we can leverage things that we do have. So what I work with teams to do is really start to release, again, we've talked about this earlier in the series, release that lower level talent as an expectation, and instead figure out what talent as a team, as an individual, as a leader, we can be leaning into instead that we know we have capacity for. Because it could feel the same to someone to sit next to a relator and to sit next to someone with high empathy. It is more about how those individuals are using that talent than whether they have it to begin with. I hope this is helpful. I'm sad to see the series end, but I will certainly catch you in the next episode. If you're enjoying this, I hope you'll share it with someone that maybe isn't as versed in strengths development and could benefit from that. Thanks so much.